This is a scary story. I have made this for all of those who love scares. Enjoy. That's not a dog. A group of friends decides to go camping deep in the woods, far from civilization. Among them is a girl named Emily, who brings along her beloved dog, Jason, a large, friendly German Shepherd. Jason is known for being loyal and protective, always staying close to Emily's side. As night falls and the group settles in for the evening, they notice that Jason starts acting strangely. Instead of staying by Emily's side, he begins to wander into the woods, staring into the dark forest with his ears perked up and his body tense. The group shrugs it off, assuming Jason is just being alert in an unfamiliar place. Later that night, after everyone has gone to bed, Emily is woken up by the sound of rustling outside her tent. She hears soft whimpering, the sound of a dog in distress. Worried, she calls out, "Jason, is that you?" She hears a low growl in response, followed by the sound of something large moving around outside the tent. Thinking Jason might be hurt or scared, Emily unzips the tent and steps outside with a flashlight. The light catches a glimpse of Jason's shape disappearing into the forest, his eyes glowing in the dark. Relieved but puzzled by his odd behavior, she decides to go back to sleep, hoping he'll return by morning. Around 2 a.m., Emily is awoken again, this time by the feeling of something heavy lying against her side inside the tent. As she lay down, she reached out to pet the familiar fur of Jason, but something felt off. His fur was coarser, and he smelled different, more like wet leaves and decay than the familiar scent of her dog. She dismissed it as just her imagination and goes back to sleep. In the morning, Emily wakes up to a silence. She notices that Jason is no longer beside her. Curious, she steps out of the tent to find the others, only to be met with a disturbing sight. Her friends are gathered around something just beyond the campsite. As Emily approaches, her blood runs cold. Lying at the edge of the clearing is Jason, her real Jason. His body cold, lifeless, and stiff. The others say they found him there, and from the state of his body, it's clear he's been dead for several hours, likely since last night. A horrifying realization came on Emily. If Jason had been dead all night, what was that lying next to her in the tent? In the woods, not everything is what it seems. Sometimes the creatures that can take on familiar forms. So the next time you hear something outside your tent or feel something warm and furry lying next to you in the dark, be very sure it's your dog. Because sometimes it's not.